Hey, it's Brittany with your favorite SaaS SEO agency, and today I'm going to walk you through my process for doing a content audit for a SaaS company. This is the type of process that we do as part of our first month of work together. We kind of got to get a handle on your existing content, what content out there we think you should have but you don't yet, and sort of like your keyword opportunity. So the first thing we're going to do is gather our materials. And step one of that is to do a crawl. So we're going to look at a website that has a really cool product, and they're called Tracker. They're an influencer marketing platform. I've worked with them briefly, and so I know for a fact that they have a really solid amount of content, and they're doing some things really right, and there's still room for improvement, so you'll actually learn something from this video. Okay, so my materials include a screaming frog crawl, which I have already done, and then I really only need the HTML for this section of our audits when we're working with a new company, because I want to make sure I've captured every single page on their website. I want to make sure I've captured every single page on their website. Looks like there's 3,000-ish. So because there's so many pages, it's possible that in order to get my next step of data, I'm going to have to do it in pieces. This doesn't always happen. But yeah, so I've also got the Google Search Console for Tracker open here, and we're going to export 3 months of click and impression data. I really am only caring about pages still. We're not in the keyword side of things yet. We have to get all of our pages in a row so that we can then look at them as a whole, group them together into clusters and sections of the website, and start assigning keywords based on intent, volume, and competitive difficulty. So, like I mentioned, there's 3,000 pages, and when you do an export like this, it only exports the first 1,000 pages. So for really large websites, like I've done this for websites that have 12,000 pages. So for those, you have to do some sort of filter. So I might say, okay, I just want all the blogs, and I want up to 1,000 blogs, and that should be enough. Or if it's some other type of business, like a marketplace or something along those lines, then you would want to find the category pieces of the URL, and then you can separate it out by that, so that you can grab more than just 1,000 pages worth of data, because the site might get a lot of traffic, and you want to be able to capture all of that. Okay, so let's just say that I have all of my crawl data and my Google Search Console data in one spreadsheet. I've lined all of this up. I know all of the pages that matter from a content standpoint. So the next thing I'm going to do is go into Ahrefs, and I'm mainly going to be using the top pages tool. And again, we're going to split up this data so that I can do one section of the website at a time. And I usually start with the commercial side of the website. So essentially anything that's not a blog or some other long form content or a glossary or a documentation section of site, because SaaS typically has one or more of those. So I'm going to get rid of anything that is not commercial. So we're going to say URL does not contain blog, and then we'll see what else we have to narrow down. Looks like careers and resources, and it's still pulling in blogs, so I need to oh yeah, it doesn't contain. And then careers, resources, and that's probably enough. Looks like they have, oh, that'll get captured. Okay, took me from 732 pages down to 266. Perfect. I still have some things that aren't really an SEO play in here, like the About page and the pricing page, but that's fine. I also know that Tracker is an international country, so I'm okay with seeing different little flags in here. But if you only sold in the US, I would limit to just United States in terms of locations as well. Because we all still have some branded keywords in here, I want to get rid of those. So we're going to say does not contain partial match. Try or track, probably. That's not going to be great, but It's fine. I'll leave it like that. Apply and show. Yeah, see, I knew some of these would come in. Okay, so we're just going to ignore them. I mean, that is the home page, so I'm not too worried about optimizing the home page necessarily. That's okay if it's mostly branded traffic coming into that one. But the rest of these have like some solid commercial page keywords around them. So Ahrefs kind of does its best to try and pick what it thinks is the top keyword, but I tend to disagree. And so like when I find one that doesn't quite line up, like I know this is perfect, you know, influencer content tracking. Influencer content tracking. That's obviously the word they're going after. So I wouldn't look into that one too deeply. But influencer prepaid payments and influencer payments, those might be different. So I'm going to open up the keywords that this page is ranking for in totality, so I can see if there's like a better fit to choose as their top. So like influencer payment platform might actually be a better choice to focus on, because one, platform, and this is a commercial section of the site, platform is a more commercial intent keyword than just payments. Let's see if there's anything else that's like somewhat high volume. I don't think so. So now that's my hunch, but I'm not like sure. Plus anything with platform or software or tool in it these days usually brings in G2 Crowd and Capterra sort of websites that are comparing software, and your best bet for competing with those is not a commercial page. It's a XBest so-and-so platforms listicle article. So let's see if that is the case here, in which case I might not recommend it. No, this is perfect. So ranking 1, 2, 3, and then their number 4 is their competitors' product pages that are just like theirs. So Ahrefs thinks it's influencer prepaid payments, but that sounds more like something else to me. I think it's influencer payment platform, and Google actually seems to agree with me because that's what they're ranking all of these for. And the top keyword chosen for those is that instead of this prepaid payment situation. So they might want to tweak their copy on the page to make it a little more payment platform forward. But so that's the type of analysis I'm doing when I'm like seeing your existing content, and is it ranking for the correct keywords based on like, is that keyword a commercial intent for a commercial page, and is it really like the best keyword to focus on? Because like we see over here, yeah, they're ranking for 22 different keywords with this page. But the ones that are on page 1 are the ones that are a little bit more targeted. And then you can see they get like less and less relevant, and so they don't stay on page 1. And you can also do this if you're like really going deep to see what they're sort of ranking for that they might not have existing content for, and then could add to their blog or something later. So like brands that pay influencers or influencer payment methods, those might be good little blog posts to do to support this influencer payments platform solution. Okay, so that's the gist of what we do, but of course we do it for every single page on your site, not just the commercial side, but also the blog and content side. So this ends up being like hundreds of iterations of us doing this analysis of checking out what's the top keyword that Ahrefs thinks. Do we think that's correct? Does it match intent? What does the SERP look like? That's how granular we get when we're analyzing your site. Then the next thing we're going to do is look for content gaps. And there's a few ways to do it. And there's one that's like really fairly easy. And I think Tracker's in here. No, they're not. Okay, so we're going to have to paste in some websites. And I don't know all of their influencers by heart, but I know one is Grin and Upfluence. And let's just do Affluencer. yeah, so I'm going to show keyword opportunities, and this is kind of like your really simple way to get a lot of keywords. Yeah, it's giving me 4,500, where Tracker does not rank at all in the top 100, and there's at least one competitor on page 1. I find this, it gives me mixed results, and half of them aren't useful because I end up with a lot of branded things usually. So Grin is probably going to show up here. Yeah, here's another Grin. Yeah, I want to avoid that happening. So I'd rather actually do no position or custom, and then like a 50 plus, because if you're ranking spot 50, that content's probably not relevant. And then at least 2 competitors. And I might even do the top 20, but let's do like the top 15. That's a much more manageable number. And then we are getting into like things that this actually looks very relevant, like fitness influencers, influencer management, which is definitely highly relevant to what Tracker does, or at least needs to speak about. Influencer collaboration. We have a lot of fitness related in here and a lot of fake followers check, which not so much. Micro influencers, coal influencers. So yeah, a lot of really good opportunities. And I'd probably pull from a lot of these and suggest that they become blog content. The next step is to kind of do this a bit more manually. So I'm going to look at Grin. And I'm going to go to their top pages. And I'm going to look, the exact same thing. This time let's do only the blog. Contains blog. And I don't want Grin. I also don't want cast or fake, because that's a lot of things, or bio. Okay. Cool, so we have a bunch of stuff here, and for this type of research, I think I do just want to look at the United States. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think I saw things about celebrity endorsements on Tracker's version of this. I would obviously have exported this data, and so I'd be able to look at my spreadsheet and check. So like anything where Grin is pulling in high amounts of traffic, and I know that Tracker doesn't have that, I'm going to pull that over into my list. And back on that last thing we looked at, the competitive matrix that was supposed to show keyword opportunities, celebrity endorsement examples definitely didn't pop up, but that's obviously a good opportunity considering Grin is getting so much traffic for it, and it's definitely relevant. So I would start with that competitive matrix and then look at each competitor individually to see what their heavy hitters are. The other thing we can do is look at kind of the opposite, so things that aren't working out for this competitor that maybe the client could snatch up. So like social media sentiment analysis might be interesting. Influencer marketing in healthcare seems really spot on. I know the Tracker specializes in beauty, but if that was, say, an industry that they wanted to break into more, then they wouldn't have as much competition from Grin, even though Grin is thinking about this. How does influencer marketing work? That's interesting that Grin is not ranking highly for that. So Tracker could snap that right up. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to look at your content and your competitors' content to do like a complete audit. The other sorts of things that we would look at is like how often are you posting? What does your like content template look like? Do you have all your EEAT signals in place properly? And like how high quality is your content? Which like your traffic is going to tell us a little bit of that sort of stuff. Okay, and then the final thing I would want to pay attention to in a content audit is how clustered is your content? Do you obviously have clusters of authority on your website? So like for Grin, for instance, they definitely have like authority on celebrity endorsement, because I think I've seen a few different celebrity endorsement related things on their site. And then Kohl's. I've seen a lot of keywords around Kohl's on Grant's website. So I would say those are kind of like mini clusters of their content. Their main cluster is obviously influencer marketing. And then I think they do some things on video marketing as well. So checking your website to identify your existing clusters and then make suggestions for new ones. And then going a step further and making sure that your internal linking actually reflects all of that. Okay, so I think that's everything that I would do in like an initial first month working together content audit. And then of course we would readdress things as we go along and as I learn more about your company. Okay, so I hope you learned some things and I will see you next time.